Hi there and welcome to Bustthenet. Yes, on today's show, we've got getting started with Liverpool. Yes, I do enjoy watching this club play. I'm a fan, as you can probably tell. But it's going to be interesting because I'm going to do this video and I'm going to try and stay on track here and not veer off course. I do apologize if I go off on a tangent once in a while and moan and groan. But I think that's part and parcel of being a Liverpool fan. Okay, so when you pick up the game the first time and you become a manager of the club, you'll be faced with certain philosophies that the club intends you to follow. Play possession, play attacking, sign young players to the first team, and develop players using the club system. Now, all four can easily be met. However, when they talk about signing young players to the first team, you're gonna have to play it by ear here. Sometimes you're not gonna go. You're not going to be on track to meeting some of these, but in order for you to get off to a great start, you probably will have to take a look at the Liverpool squad and make some hard decisions. We will discuss that very soon. The second thing you want to be doing here is when you get into the Liverpool team, go through your scouting reports. You're going to have lots of scouts. Leave Dave Fallows as a chief scout to do what he's doing if you're sort of manager like me and you rather have recommendations coming in. However, there's something here you'll notice. Youth package is only for England. Your scouting budget is 730k. Your transfer budget is a big whopping 75 million. You definitely can afford to raise this. So what you want to do is you want to go to your player search tab over here, pick senior package, and you can raise this all the way to 480 if you feel like it, or you can just focus on Europe. I rather just focus on Europe. So immediately you get a bigger database of players. So you got a senior package for Europe, you got a youth package for Europe. If you want to be even more ambitious, go for the world. Yes, if you want to manage Liverpool and make them into a juggernaut one more time, I would recommend hitting the world. Okay, now what about your scouting focus? You're gonna have recommendations from you're gonna have this chief scout running around going, what do you want? So here we go, short-term focus. You definitely want to look at signing a central defender. We want physical central defenders. So you want to get there are several attributes here. Basically, this is a simple way of finding players in the game based on certain attributes. Got physical, with intelligent, creative, leaders, and technical. Focus on physicals because you want to get players with good jumping reach. You want to get you want those kind of players. Naturally, if you can get a combination, I mean, we wish we could. Intelligent players will also be good. So you either go for physical or intelligent. Now, once you've done that, they will go off on a tangent and start looking for players. Now, the other option, of course, is you can do a player search, and you can go through and start looking through here, set up a filter. We will cover that very soon, and you can start looking for players that you are interested in signing. You will already notice that your scouts already have certain players that they want to recommend, like Koscielny, Vertonghen, and Ryan Bertrand. But before we even get into that, let's take a look at what Liverpool is like. So when you pick Liverpool up for the first time, I would recommend having some kind of a view. I have my own views. We'll make these available for download. All you have to do is go to the Steam Workshop to pick them up, and it should just load into your game, and you should just call it up. What you need to do is you need to import those views when you get them into your game. So, and it should happen automatically. Just import, you see the view there, BTN, whichever view it is. Okay. Now, the first thing I want to do with Liverpool is understand what we have in terms of a defensive situation. Now, Liverpool, if you're a Liverpool fan, I am going to go out there and say the first thing you want to do is get rid of Lovren. Okay, this is just plain useless. Okay, this is my personal opinion. Now, let's look at his positioning. It's 13. You look at the league average. You want to be a title contender, you have nothing less than 15 to aim for. You want to be one of the top teams in England, make sure that your positioning is at least 15. He's 13. He's not. And there's nobody else in the team that comes close to him. Positioning, Joel Matip is 17. His anticipation and his only thing what lets him down is concentration, which is true to form in real life. That's how he actually plays. These attributes, I reckon, are pretty close to him in real life. His aggression levels aren't very good as well in the game, and his jumping reach is very good in the air though. Jumping reach and hitting, he makes for a very good player who can clear the ball in the box. But what lets him down is his concentration. Sometimes he just disappears in a game. Passing out of the back, not one of his strong suits. Okay, then we got Lovren. Lovren's positioning is 13. His concentration is 13, very average. He may be the bravest person, one of the bravest players in the team, but that's about it. Okay, his acceleration is 13. Matip is 14. They are reasonably fast, but not very fast. Okay, they are reasonable. Then we've got work rate, jumping reach 15 and 16. Now, Lovren is a first team player as well. Nathaniel Klein, when you start the game, he's out for 5 to 6 months, so he's gone. So you can forget about him, right? And you can probably start looking at him when the season is about to end. Then we've got Joel Matip. Of course, we've got Ragnar Klavan. I haven't even spoken about him. Ragnar Klavan, rotation player. Thank God for that. Okay, we've got positioning 13, 14. In my estimate, he's probably never going to see a game. He's a bench player at best. He comes in, puts on his socks, or washes the socks of other players. Then we've got, so the situation in defense is quite bad. So we need to sign a central defender, and you need to sign a central defender that is better than Joel Matip, or at least can complement him. When it comes to the fullbacks, we've got Alberto Moreno and Andrew Robertson. They both not bad. Okay. The weakness for Moreno is his poor positioning. The weakness of Andrew Robertson is his low aggression. In tough matches, I'm more likely to go with Alberto Moreno as a starting player. But we're going to have to be very careful on how we use him. And whenever we use him, we're going to be watching the left flank very, very carefully. What about the right wing backs or the right fullbacks? Because of the injury to Nathaniel Klein, who's out for 5 to 6 months, we really need to pull in somebody from the reserves or the under 23s. And one player that's been playing in real life is Trent Arnold-Alexander. You also have John Flanagan. Now, John Flanagan is also a pretty good central fullback. He's actually pretty good as a fullback, bone-crunchingly good, very brave in the challenge. He definitely is an option. However, if you're going to develop Trent Arnold-Alexander or Trent Alexander-Arnold, then you would need to give him as many games as possible. He has a lot of potential, and if you want to do this, then what you should do immediately is move him into the senior squad so he gets a chance to play. John Flanagan is already wanted by another club. You can probably get 10 to 13 million for him, so he definitely is an option for you to sell. So the players that you want to be selling off are Dejan Lovren and John Flanagan at the start of the game. This will give you more than enough capital for you to build your squad. Now that we've covered our defenders, let's look at our defensive midfielders. In defensive midfield, we have basically the group Amr Can, James Milner, Marco Grojcik, and Mr. Jordan Henderson. So basically, you got these three players. All three players are fine. We don't need to go out there and add more to the pile. Marco Grojcik is decent. He has chance to develop. So he's a good player that we should be looking to develop in the long run. So you can actually play the game without having to go and sign another player. Georgina Rinaldin, well, he's not really a typical... You can't look at him as a defensive midfielder. He's more a Mazzala. So he can play he currently plays for Liverpool as the main guy who explores half channels. So this guy is he's going to be used in that kind of a setup. So we're going to use him to explore half channels. So in terms of your defensive midfielders, you sorted. If you want to go out and get another defensive midfielder, you can do that. However, it would definitely give us some issues in the long run, because whether or not we can play those players, because we actually have Marco who can come in as a option off the bench. For our central midfielders, Lallana is going to start out injured 3 to 5 months. So he's out. He and Nathaniel Klein decided to go for the same holiday. Right? They're both out for the long run. There's a possibility Coutinho might leave your club. So you need to start planning a strategy where you either replace Coutinho with somebody else, or you wait to sell him and scout a player as a replacement. However, it is not a critical thing that you need to do, because Georgina Rinaldin can actually play in that role for the time being and can do you a pretty good job. We've also got a youngster here called Ovi Ejaria who can be developed over time. He has the potential of turning into a decent player for Liverpool as well. So when you're looking at your team, you've got your defensive midfielders in James Milner, Georgina Rinaldin, Omra Chan, and Jordan Henderson. You've got 4 midfielders there. If you really want to go out and get another midfielder, then you are looking for a like replacement for Philippe Coutinho. Now, Philippe Coutinho's weakness in the team is actually his defensive contributions in the game. His positioning is only 13, his tackling is only 11. We don't really need him to fulfill that role in the game. We want him to bring what he does in an attacking sense. So if you're going to go and look for a replacement for Philippe Coutinho, you should start scouting early in the game. But as the team sits at the moment, it's a pretty solid midfield group that can still work in the game. The only problem for Liverpool is actually defense that we need to fix, and that is the urgent thing that will need to be done. In attack, we have several options now. Anybody who's been following Liverpool knows that Liverpool they've got enough attacking options right now in the team. Even in their reserves, you got Ben Woodburn, who can be promoted into the first team squad to give him some games, because this guy is also another talented player that's got a lot of potential. Liverpool have got more than enough attacking options that you don't really need to go out there and get another player, because eventually you got to think about whether or not you can fit them into the squad, whether you can bring them into the Champions League. Because from my calculations, if you want to bring enough players, you got maybe room for maybe 2 players. If you sell Coutinho, you got 3 players. So right now, the strikers that we have are Sadio Mane, Mohamed Salah, the ever injury-prone Daniel Sturridge. You got Firmino, you got Danny Ings, and Dominic Solanke. Now, because Solanke has just joined the club, I would rather develop him over time, give him a couple of matches, and see where he goes from there. What we're going to try and do is try and take some elements from Liverpool's game and include them into our tactic. We probably won't be able to get everything right, but at least more or less we're going to try and get most of it. So here, I'm using the match against Arsenal as a reference. Arsenal play a 3-4-3. Probably not very often that Liverpool meets teams that give up the flank so easily, but in this particular setup, Liverpool was playing with a 4-3-3. Now, Liverpool tend to play with a 4-3-3 or with Moreno as an inverted wing back sometimes, or as a wing back in other times, depending on the competition that they face. Sometimes if they want to camp in people's halves, then Moreno becomes a wing back, and on the other flank Gomez becomes a wing back as well. But the trio in midfield, Wijnaldum and Henderson and Chan, well, the interesting thing is how they work with each other. There's a fair bit of swapping going on in the team. Chan and Henderson, sometimes they actually swap positions as well. So sometimes Chan drops deep and Henderson pushes forward. In attack, sometimes we'll see Mane and Salah swapping positions as well. So these are elements that I want to try and include in this tactic. Whenever Liverpool defend, they actually drop quite deep. Against Arsenal, they were dropping very, very deep, and they form almost a 5-man defense with four players at the back, Wijnaldum and Chan, Henderson, Sane, and the boys up top. Now, what they're trying to do here is as well, when they try to break into a counter, they're trying to get 2 men in a hole so that they can release either Sane or Salah. We know that Liverpool practices again pressing, where they close down. It's basically counter pressing. So the moment you lose the ball, you try and win it back. That's basically again pressing in a nutshell. But to insist that Liverpool plays with a high line for 90 minutes is not right, because Liverpool don't play with a high line for 90 minutes. Their defensive line actually shifts during a game. Now, as you can see from the screenshot, Liverpool have dropped very deep. They're defending near the edge of the box. You see, the thing about the way Liverpool set up is their defensive line changes based on the teams that they're facing. Against teams like Arsenal or good teams, Liverpool will drop deep enough so that they can actually explore space behind the defensive line. When they win the ball in defense, they look to release it very quickly to the 2 guys playing out wide. The scouts have come back in with some reports, and I've managed to shortlist a few that are potentially good. We've got Daniel Rugani, Kalidou Koulibaly, Of course, we're not going to sign Jan Vertonghen from Spurs because the asking price is going to be too high. But with Khalido Koulibaly, he's not that bad. His concentration is the only thing that's a bit weak in his game. His concentration is only 12. However, his positioning is 15. That's not too bad. And then we've got Daniel Rugani, whose positioning is actually 16, much better, and he's definitely a player that we can walk into the team and start playing straight away. We've also lined up potential replacements in case Philippe Coutinho decides he's had enough of Anfield. And the player that we're going to go in and take from the market is Giovanni Lo Celso. Now, if Coutinho goes, then we grab him. Time now for the tactic. Well, we're going to have 3 versions, attacking, defensive, and camping. Now, the thing is here, I'm trying to keep to the spirit of Klopp. I'm trying also to keep us defensively solid. So there is, yes, so there's no defensive, basically defensive plays on control. Alright, so the attacking version of the tactic has got an inverted wingback on defense, 2 central defenders and a wingback on support. Now there are no PIs on these guys, so they all go until we get to Alexander-Arnold. Now remember, this is the attacking version, so Alexander-Arnold will be told to go wide. Up front, then in front of them we've got Henderson, who's been given more direct passes. We've got Omri Chan, who's got all these PIs. There's a reason why I have all these PIs set up. Run wide with ball, move into channels, pass it shorter, close down more, dribble less, and shoot less often. Essentially, I just want him to TikTok the ball and bring it up and keep hold of the ball and come in late into the box. Essentially, something that if you want to get Amra Chan to play slightly differently, you can of course tell him you can remove the passage shorter. Then you can give him freedom to pass the ball, which can definitely still work. Then we got Coutinho playing as the Mazzala, closing down and also running wide with the ball. So he's also going to be running wide with the ball. The CM here is also going to be, running wide with the ball. So both of them are expecting to run wide with the ball when they have the ball. The inside forward, he's going to be attacking, sitting narrow, closing down much more and tackling harder. Then on the other flank, we've got Salah closing down much more, tackling harder. We've got Firmino playing with few risky passes as a DLF on attack. This wingback on support is expected to end up over here if we are camping in an opponent's half. However, this is the attacking version of the tactic. It's got an attacking mentality, structure, team instructions, work ball into box, use offside trap, roam from positions, and prevent shot goalkeeper distribution. And we haven't finished yet. We also have swap instructions. This player is going to swap with this player, so you can do it at the bottom. So we got midfielder center Omri Chan will swap with the DLP, so that way I get my Henderson Chan swapping, which actually happens in the game itself. Up top, we're also going to swap Sane and Salah. Now this is where it gets interesting. You can also get them to swap roles. Now that makes it even more fun. So when they can play like wingers, and then after that, you can get them to play like inside forwards. So that's kind of cool. If you know what you're doing, then it's going to be fun. If you're not sure, be careful, because you're gonna have to know about how your roles and duties interact in the tactic. But this is one way I do it, and I have a lot of fun with this. So we managed to actually beat Manchester City with this tactic. All right, now then we have the defensive variation. Now it's also played on control structure. Why am I playing a defensive variant? Well, same principle, except this time we have a wingback on support, DLP on defense, CM on support, Mazzala on support, wing on attack, inside forward and attack, closing down much more, closing down in front. Then we got this guy getting further forward and CD. So basically what they're doing is we are not having a inverted wingback on this flank. So I'm getting a wingback to cover that flank because we're expecting teams to attack us. Now, what I do in this version is I play out a defense. So I TikTok the ball out, I work ball into box, whip crosses, play wider, use the offside trap, I roam from positions and prevent shot goalkeeper distribution. Now, when the AI goes 4-2-4, or he decides to go overload, I remove prevent shot goalkeeper distribution and I remove all the opposition instructions. I clear them. I don't use opposition instructions when the AI goes overload fluid, because I want to use this to hit it on the break, because I can hit it on the break with my 3 players up wide. Now the swap instructions still occur. They will go winger in inside forward attack. When they swap, they can be they'll be inside forward attack here and a winger here. And I also have another variation where I have a winger and an inside forward, and I get them to swap. Now, why have I done it in that way? Because you have to understand, he cuts inside from both wings and he moves into channels. That's what Sane does. Salah, well, he runs with the ball and cuts inside from right wing. So whenever I play them differently, their player traits also kick in. Now remember that player traits overrule PIs, and it's relative to the tactic as well. So sometimes you will see players with good decision making, they will choose to go down the flanks or they will cut inside. So this is an option. This way I get Salah to lend us some width, especially if you are playing against a team that is hell-bent on attacking us. Naturally, you can change this to a wing-back on, you can change this to a full-back on support if you want, but when you do that, you lose some of the support over here. The difference between the first tactic and the second tactic is the Mazala. The Mazala role is different. In the attacking version, the Mazala is on attack duty. In the defensive version, the Mazala is actually sitting back in a supporting role. Now, for my so-called defensive version, it's not really defensive. It's just an attempt to control some parts of the pitch with support duties here and all the support duties at the back. The CM on support has shoot less, offer close up, more move into channels. The Mazala is still doing the same thing. The four players at the back here have no PIs. They all bulk basic. The DLP on defense gets more direct passes. We got 3 attack duties here to attack space. We got them all doing we got 2 of them doing close out much more. And at the back, the goalkeeper is playing it short. Essentially, the whole idea here is to sit back, hit on the break. Now, is it really defensive? With certain teams, it might be. And the challenge then becomes, what do you do with these players? In some of the games, you might want to change this guy into a wing-back, full-back on support even. But here, we want to try and maintain some of the frailty in the Liverpool team. No, I never said this is going to be a super solid defensive system. I mean, if it is, then Liverpool should be winning the title by now. Okay, then team instructions: play out of defense, ball into box, whip crosses, use offside trap, and prevent short goalkeeper distribution. We also have to think about set pieces with Liverpool system. I'm going to focus on defending corners because that's where I normally score most of my goals. Yes, I score goals when I defend corners. Essentially, what I have is I have Salah and Mane ready to explode. So I've always play Salah here if I'm defending it from the right. So he's on the left-hand flank. So he's in his natural position attacking. And if I swap to take defending corners from the left side, then I've got Mane bombing forward if he's playing as an AMR. So whoever is the AMR in the system, I make sure that they're on the natural side when they're attacking. And this is how I set my defend corner routines in order for me to go for goal. Finally, we have the grand old camping. Now, when I want to go camping, I call on this tactic. Now, it works some of the time. I have to admit, control flexible is the way I play it. Play out defense, work ball to box, play wider, push high up, use offside trap, prevent short goalkeeper distribution. Once again, this is a tactic which I use if I intend to break a side down. And they're defensive. They are a team that is I'm expected to beat, but they decided to sit in their own half. That is one of the reasons why I'm using a false 9. He also plays with more risky passes. The difference between this role and this role is that in the with the DLF on attack, he doesn't make fewer risky. He does fewer risky passes. So whenever I'm playing on a higher mentality, I want to attack. I don't want this guy to be trying any risky shit. Okay, he's just gonna play simple passes and lay it off to these guys who are attacking space. But when I'm camping, I need a variety. I need the guy moving around. I need the guy looking to play others in, because we might be faced with a team that is, has decided to make it really hard for us. So in the camping version, we also use him as a ball-winning midfielder on support. And these 2 roles, once again, they swap. And these 2 roles swap too. The Mazala has got dribble more direct, more risky passes. The wing on attack close down, more tackle harder. The same, we are maintaining this at the same time, except for Firmino. I don't want him closing down and tackling much harder. At the back, we got wing back on support, we got wing back on attack, we got 2 central defenders and a DLP on defense. There is one thing that you can do with this wing back on attack. You can actually tell him to play it short as well. That way, you get the option of keeping the ball, and you can work through the transitions from defense to attack. There are other things you can do with the camping system as well. You can actually go and train your players to bring the ball out of defense. And then you can play in conjunction with play out of defense. And then you can camp really long and nicely with the central defender trying to make some interesting passes. So these are the three versions that I have. Now, I personally like this version because it creates goals like this. Well, I don't claim that this is a perfect replication. It's going to have the same defensive frailties that Liverpool has because, down the flanks, I'm going to get worried all the time. We're going to be bombing up looking for goals really quickly, and that's something that's going to happen. And why have I given three versions? I've given three versions for people to try out because they all bring something different to the table and they give you different options in certain matches. I call it the attacking, defensive and camping, and there are elements that make it a bit more defensive, there are elements that make it a bit more camping, but I still wanted to maintain the overall flow of Liverpool's play. And I don't think everybody is, I don't claim that this is the perfect replication. I don't even think it's possible. But I hope to come close with it with some way or another, make it feel as if I am playing or watching Liverpool. And well, if it comes close, then I'm glad. And if you like it and if you found it useful, please let me know. Hit the like, subscribe button, share your thoughts with me. Half these ideas I get for these videos are actually coming from you guys, so let me know and I will try and do more of these kind of videos if I can. Once again, I'd like to thank everybody for continuing to support my channel. You make these kind of shows possible for the rest of the community. Meanwhile, for the rest of you guys who are not supporting the channel, it's okay, I'll still do the videos for you. Just ask me away on Twitter at Bustthenet or addicted2fm.com, my website, and I'll try and get something out for you guys. You guys take care, have a good one. I'll catch up with you soon. Bye bye.